The dead are not meant to answer, but we keep calling. Across time, the living have tried to reach beyond the grave, for closure, for power, for love. But in every myth, it comes with a price. 5. The Nekia, when Odysseus opened the pit, Greek myth. 4. The hungry ghosts of Zhongyuan, Chinese folklore. 3. The bone caller of the Sami, Northern Europe. 2. The Awil rituals of blood memory, Maya legend. 1. The Juka ceremony of the unquiet dead, Surinamese lore. These myths remind us, you can open the door, but you don't choose what comes through. Subscribe for more echoes of the past. Number 5. The Nekia. When Odysseus opened the pit, we think we're so clever, don't we? Like we've beaten death. We've unlocked its secrets. We know how to cheat it, control it even. Well, if only the great hero Odysseus hadn't been so eager to prove that last one, because when he did, he unleashed hell. Yeah, in Homer's Odyssey, this guy was crazy brave or crazy stupid. Depends on the book, really. But either way, after the Trojan War, he set sail for home. Only it was a long journey, and his crew got impatient, waiting on divine help. So they landed on the island of the dead. And there, per his own advice, he opened the pit of hell. Now, Odysseus knew about the dangers of necromancy, but he thought he could control it. He had a plan. See, he wanted to speak with the seer Tiresias, so he asked the gods for guidance, made offerings to the dead, then jumped into the pit. But when he came out, it wasn't Tiresias he saw, but all those souls he'd just unleashed. They swarmed him, clawing, biting, trying to drag him back down. Even Circe couldn't stop them. Only Hermes saved him, whisking him away from that chaos and back to the land of the living. Maybe that's why we don't hear many stories about returning from the underworld. You might not get to pick who or what you bring back. Number 4. The hungry ghosts of Zhongyuan. On the surface, it's a simple enough wish. All young Li wants is to chat with her mother one more time, just to tell her that she loves her, that she misses her. But she's gone now, taken by illness before Li was born. So like so many desperate children, she asks the old woman next door. She'll conjure her mom for her. Yeah, no big deal, except in Chinese folklore, summoning ghosts isn't a tea party. First, you must make an offering, then pray for the ghost to enter your dream. Finally, ask your question. After that, it's best to seal your lips lest the ghost mistake your silence for an invitation to stay. Simple enough, right? Well, when Li sees her mom, she does just that. She talks to her, laughs with her, plays games. She doesn't want this night to end. But dreams fade, and when Li wakes up, her mom is still gone. So she goes back to the old woman, begging her to send her mom back. Please, please, please. Except that second time, the ghost is hungrier. You see, every time you summon a spirit, it grows stronger, needs more sustenance. And what better source than the living child? Before long, the ghost isn't just lingering in Li's dreams. It's haunting her waking hours too. So the only way to break the curse is to let the ghost take what it wants. And what is that? Well, dreams are fragile things. As the sun rises, the ghost fades, and with it, little Li does too. 3. The bone caller of the Sami. A lonely cottage, a roaring blizzard, and inside it, an old Sami man. His name is Bieto, which means lonely in the northern Sami language, but he's not alone. No, he has the bones of his ancestors right there with him, preserved in a leather pouch around his neck. See, he is the keeper of their spirits, and since he's getting pretty old, he's looking for an apprentice, someone to pass the torch to, someone to replace him when he dies. Enter young Una. She lives in a village nearby, and she's curious about these bones. Does this mean she'll talk to her dead dad? Yeah, probably. But she'll have to pay for it because in Sami lore, the spirits don't like sharing, and some will fight tooth and nail to keep you from their bone pile. So Beato warns her to be careful. If she takes something from the pouch, then something from her will go into the pouch. Now, If she gives up, she won't have to worry about anything. But it's too late. Once the ceremony starts, she can't back out. But maybe it's worth it. As Ona spends nights with the old man, talking to the dead, she learns their secrets. They show her where hidden treasure lies, and it's tempting. But the closer she gets, the more she feels their need, their hunger. Then one day, Beato dies, and now Ona is the new keeper of the bones. But she can't handle the spirits within. They drain her, possess her, and when villagers come looking for help, she's already gone. There's nothing left but an empty pouch. Some say the spirits took all of her. Others say they took her treasure. Either way, they got what they wanted. And now number 2, the Kawil rituals of blood memory. Deep in the jungles of Central America lived the Maya. And among them were the Popol Vuh, who claimed descent from the gods. In fact, they believed that they were gods themselves, living among mortals. And every so often they would prove it, or at least try to. See, their kings kept bloodlines pure by marrying siblings, a practice that sounds disgusting, but back then it was common. Plus, it helped preserve their powers, making them immortal, or at least they believed they were immortal. You'd never guess from looking at King Yak's Kuk Mo, though. No, he looked mortal enough, if a little pale. You see, he had a rare medical condition that made his skin look white as bone, and people whispered that he was actually a zombie, brought back from the dead. But if that's true, who raised him and why? Well, we don't know exactly, but we do know that kings had a secret weapon against death, bloodletting. By cutting open a vein, letting blood flow out, they could keep evil spirits from entering, and if they used special tools, like the skull of a jaguar, they could even put the blood back into their bodies. Yet, despite these precautions, the king died. Not sure how. Nobody knows exactly. But they buried him deep beneath the earth, surrounded by treasures fit for a god. And that's when the ritual started. Every year, the priests would dig up his bones, rewrap them in fresh cloth, and parade them through the streets. This was their chance to connect with their king, their god, their ancestor. And each king who followed, they did the same for him. They kept blood memory alive until the Spanish came and put an end to that. And now number 1, the Juca ceremony of the unquiet dead. Deep in the Surinamese jungle lived the Juca people, and among them was an old woman named Sarawa, who was a medium, a listener, one who could communicate with the dead. And boy, did they have things to say. One day, Sarah woke from a dream and called everyone together. The ancestors were restless, she told them, and they wanted a ceremony. Normally, she would oblige, but this time was different. The spirits were demanding, almost violent, so she told them they'd have to wait until she spoke with the village shaman. Only he didn't believe her. He thought she was making it all up. So Sarah was forced to do something she never did, send the spirits away, tell them to wait until next time. But that wasn't easy. Their anger echoed in her dreams, whispering, screaming, plotting. And when she woke up, she knew there was only one thing to do. She had to call them back and honor them properly. Now, normally, the ceremony was simple: rum and wood to ward off evil, tobacco to calm the troubled. But this time, the offerings weren't enough. The spirits demanded sacrifice. She told the village elder, Nandalo, that he had to cut open a vein and spill his blood. That way, the ancestors would be appeased. But he refused, saying that no blood would stain the ground while he was alive. So instead, Sarah volunteered, stepping forward to take an axe. When she returned, her face was drained of color, her eyes wide. She dropped the axe and collapsed. The spirits had taken her, and when the villagers searched her body, they found another spirit inside her, a strange and terrible one. Its eyes burned like coals, its breath hot and foul. They chased her into the bush, trapped her in a box and threw it into the river. Then they sealed it with mud and waited. Soon, the angry spirits were gone. Nandalo felt peace return to the village and assumed everything was fine. but he was wrong. 3 days later, the box floated out of the river and onto his doorstep. He opened it out of curiosity just to find an empty coffin.